there's no wasting time for the Heart Kingdom. They got right into the fray of things. They are ready for action, and they are going to now assess the situation. I don't imagine that they're like, all right, let's just kill these guys like right away, like really go too heavy with the these Clover Kingdom visitors. But they're, from what I'm hoping, is more of like trying to test them and not just, yeah, we're going right to eradication. Yep, we don't want them here. We're gonna get vicious. I think it'll much more like testing, kind of just like a flex, trying to get just trying to like get a feel of them, because the Clover members are not in any way close to strapped capable of dealing with these guys. But one thing I really liked that I noticed is when thinking about the Heart Kingdom, it's very like nature-like, very green, very sunshine. Like there's a much scene with a bunch of nice butterflies surrounding Noelle and Asta. Is when you think about the overall kind of layout for Black Clover, it's not been in something this kind of, I want to say like high positive nature like, kind of just like really delightful to like look at. You just kind of like get this warm feeling because like, thinking back at like South Sea Village, there was, it was covered in like the mist and whatnot, the dungeon arc, all underground. And, most of the scenes from, that I remember from the Capital Invasion when the Eye of the Midnight Sun first attacked was a lot more like dark, gloomy looking. Then we had like the cave arc, Water Temple, which is forest. You had obviously we had the Royal Knights exam, but then the whole like Elf Resurrection arc either took place inside of the Eye of the Midnight Sun's base, and the rest it was like at night or within the Shadow Palace. Like we had, for the most part, a much more dark and gloomy settings, whereas now in the Heart Kingdom it all feels very tropical. I like that a lot. Like just thinking about like what it would look like being there, it's probably just it's nice and warm. You probably get like a lot of like animal sounds, that pleasant like rushing water when waterfalls just kind of like clap down. It probably just has its own different ambiance, and that's what I'm guessing Tabata's going for. I imagine that the Spade Kingdom will have much more of that, cold and heavy winter tone of like winds whistling, and it just, the only thing you can really like hear is your own like teeth chattering, probably, otherwise being so cold. And then like the Diamond Kingdom will probably just, once we eventually get there, we'll have that feeling much more like mining, excavation, like military troops going around, lots more different tones set up. But I'm willing to bet Tabata intended that while designing them. But anyway, we have this new guy, Gaja. He's decided to, he's making himself known to these guys. He's going to be their guide. And he says he's part of the Spirit Guard. So there was obviously the last chapter when we saw a little bit of the Heart Princess, and, everyone's speculating that the person behind her either had to be, the Great Water Spirit, or it had to be a devil. Now, this obviously is laying further because, Spirit Guard, no, it seems to be some spirit stuff. They even said, like, when the Heart Kingdom was made 1,200 years ago, that it was done thanks to the help of pact with Water Spirit. So I'm guessing maybe that the members of the Heart Kingdom all use spirit magic, because one thing that we've been set up with is we know about the Great Four Spirits, but these are specifically not just like, oh yeah, there's four spirits. Like, these are the Great Four. These are supposed to be the top. So there's probably lots of lesser spirits across like the different elements. Probably not just like the primary ones, but kind of like secondary branched off elements as well. Like this guy, we don't get to find out what his magic is at the moment, but we do find out that he does have a heart on his grimoire, much to Clover Kingdom has been Clover on theirs. Diamond Kingdom is Diamond on theirs. It was been up with speculation for a while, that each kingdom would have their own symbol on it, probably where they even got the names of the kingdoms themselves, where what was constantly forming upon their grimoires. But we don't really get to see what his magic is, which again is unfortunate. I want to know. This guy's, it's a little bit weird. You see these like runic symbols, the lettering in his book coming out. It doesn't look like water, so I'm wondering what his will be. And it's a little hard to like look at his grimoire. It looks like there's maybe some like sun on it, maybe like right above those hearts, right above and below. So maybe it'll have some like kind of like heat stuff. Maybe there'll be some like weird like light magic. I don't know. His I just I almost said I almost fiction. I picture that he will be having a very weird magic, not like crazy like OP, but something very odd to deal with, something that's just kind of like hard to wrap your head around. Just because he's the first real one we're getting. The Heart Princess makes her move, but I mean she just seems to be some like super beefed up water wizard, so I don't think that's gonna really take too much to really get around. This is gonna be probably the most displayed person within the Heart Kingdom we're gonna get. Probably their kind of like primary guy to go around. You know, we'll get more Heart Kingdom members as the story goes, but this is it at the moment. And he like offers them some drinks, and I guess this fruit that if you add magic to it, it tastes like sweeter. And then poor Asta, obviously, like the way he is, his is probably tastes so bitter and just like dead flavor. Yeah, it's funny when you get like stuff like that for him, where it's such a low key not importance for anybody in reality, but for him, it's just he's never going to be able to drink it unless somebody helps him. But when they're getting up there, there's a huge water bridge that gets formed for their ship to go, and it's explaining how the start of the Heart Kingdom 1,200 years ago. And what's interesting is we know like stuff about like Lichten Lumir, but that was spanning what 500 years back. This is even way further back, like 1,200 years. Like we don't even know like how far like the real history of like the wizards and stuff in Black Clover really extend to. Like there's a lot of questions that go beyond them. It also makes the Clover Kingdom really just feel like the newest one on top of all that. Probably the youngest of each of the four kingdoms that we know of for sure. The Heart Kingdom so far is definitely the oldest. I imagine the Spade will be much older, probably like 2,000 years or something. But the royalty of the kingdom seems to borrow power from the Heart, or the Heart Kingdom's like helping creator. I don't know why I fumbled around saying that so horribly, but yeah, the person who helped create it, the water spirit, and one thing that we found out last chapter when talking about her powers, they said that she had like this kind of like all-knowing presence of the kingdom itself, and it was like, well, is that a specific magic? There was the whole theory that the water spirit, the great water spirit's thing would be range, like as you had Belle, the Sylph. She, as the great wind spirit, seems to be much more of like control and movement, whereas Salamander is just straight firepower, is just offensive force. Whereas the water spirit, yeah, I could see it just being a range, like a huge range extender, because the reason that she has like this full like kind of ability over the kingdom itself, or the Heart Kingdom, is because her mana zone actually covers the whole thing, which is cool because it makes perfect sense of why you'd have such range. You would be able to just, sense things that go on within it. Probably, we already saw that her ability to see throughout it, and that also means she can cast magic anywhere within it, which ended up being like very quickly displayed because a big water sphere just wraps around Asta and rushes him over off in the distance. And from that, it looks like things are going to get a little crazy because Mimosa, Noelle, Finral obviously going to rush after him. Finral uses his spatial magic, sends him much further to go after Asta. And Gaja, god damn it, Gaja is cool. He has a cool design. He has a cool looking magic, at least looking at the moment. He's able to fly, seemingly without actually using magic as well. But I have to give the guy, a little bit of a scowl, because here he is over here calling Finral's magic third rate. I'm talking shit about my boy Finral. I don't approve of this. And here's Noelle getting up her Valkyrie dress, getting buffed up to fight this guy. And he says that Noelle's magic, though, is pretty first rate, and then decides to use his magic as well. That's where we get this panel. I really want to know what his magic is, because like I said, he's going to probably be the main member of the Heart Kingdom that we get for this arc, whether that be like main antagonist, kind of like, well, maybe not main antagonist, main shown. Obviously, the Heart Princess would be much stronger, but maybe this guy will be the one that's just way more active. Or, the main ally of the arc. Who knows how this is going to go? I would like the idea of this arc, because they're neutral, is instead of having like, oh, we're gonna, it's us versus them. For some reason, we're fighting this whole country. It's like trials. Like you have to be able to pass certain tests in order to come in. And then we just have maybe some like cool battle stuff, and then maybe like a couple chapters of that, and then we find out some lore stuff. We get over that, and then kind of like delving into the overall plot of what's going to be in the Heart Kingdom. just some fun stuff to kind of just start it out, get a little bit of a display. Because one thing that we do need to see is this Heart Kingdom magic in general, because we know that they're supposed to have like their own weird magic. And I'm guessing that's going to be spirit magic. You know, if they all have just kind of like lesser spirits, like you can just imagine somebody like, oh yeah, this is the lesser spirit of wood magic or something, and you just have, you know, just gives you like a general buff, and it gives you something weird. But then Asta ends up going to this. Actually, I really like looking at this huge kind of. I wonder if it's supposed to be if it was a natural crater, if it was made. But all these waterfalls are flowing into it, and down there you have what looks to be the Heart Princess behind a waterfall, who summons this aquatic like knight. I'm wondering if it's like a summons or if it's another character like in the outfit. But it does raise my suspicions. I have suspicions that that somehow Aesir is involved, and obviously hers is she's metal, kind of like liquid metal magic. But you know, if she has the water spirit, then I imagine she'd be able to use two. I'm curious about that. Maybe if you have the spirit, it's compatible, but it's not the same. You could technically use two magics. Not too sure. There's also the fact it'd be Magicula probably involved to kind of like mess with her as well. But that is very speculative. I'm just kind of thinking about it of like, oh yeah, you know, you have some connections to water. You aren't a water mage, but you know, your husband had water magic, and you know, some of your children have water magic, and as well as, you know, she had the cool war dress that she wore. And this one is its own thing, but we don't know if this is maybe just a summon, some form of water familiar that the Heart Princess summoned. But other than that, we will see. We will see how this goes. I mean, Asta, the thing though is if it's just, you know, a summons, it's just, you know, water wrapped up with magic to give it a shape. Asta should be fine against that because, well, unless it's way too fast for him. Unless it's faster than he is or has some like weird level of control that just kind of like outmaneuvers him, then he should be fine because he should be able to dispel it and, you know, and take it down. He's got out his demon dweller sword, so he probably could just absorb the magic off it. She even says that she's been waiting for her demon for the sake of her country, and I'm wondering what exactly, you know, is going to be the the reason for that. Does she want the power to defend it, and maybe she knows something that the other characters don't? Maybe like, oh yeah, the Spade Kingdom plans to attack soon, and I want another devil to add to the level of our power and to add defense. Because when you have the thing about Asta is with anti-magic, it would become like a great like kind of like send in all around destroyer kind of character, because obviously anti-magic, but it'd also be a great deterrent because, you know, no one's gonna want to fight him in battle, given if he's like strong enough, just because the level of worry that you'd have against fighting somebody who just all around counters magic in general. So, you know, he'd be like a great asset of like, oh yeah, they're invading, we'll send the anti-magic devil over there. But actually, I really want to know if like they end up like talking to him, like if Asta gets defeated and she uses some magic to talk to the, like, I don't want to communicate with this boy, I want to communicate with the devil within his grimoire. And we get to see an interaction between like the Heart Queen or Heart Princess, or rather Heart Princess. I've seen it translated as both. The official ones use Princess, but the non-officials keep using Queen, so I imagine it must be Princess. But just like her trying to communicate with the anti-magic devil, and he just like, what do you want? I don't got time for your shit. She does like a bunch of like general, oh, I want your aid, demon. I'm willing to offer these things, and he's just like, no, I don't really want that. It just further breaks the kind of like the mold for demons, because that's what I imagine the anti-magic devil thing is going to be. Is he doesn't act like a demon at all. He's going to not have any of the kind of like set traits that the others do. But anyway, comment below. Tell me what your thoughts are on this chapter. I really want to see Gaja's magic. He looks really cool in this panel, and I'm just very intrigued of what his thing will be, because it could easily be like, oh yeah, it's just an element but a twist on it, or it's some like weird magic, kind of, you know, like Zora's got like traps and stuff. Maybe you'll have something kind of like a similar offbeat thing, like it's an element, but there's something very kind of like twisted about it. There's some weird thing like, oh yeah, I can use my magic to I don't know, like do some weird effect on your magic. And I'm not like, imagine he's just like just straight spirit magic, and you launch an attack at him, and he, his magic gets inserted, and it's like, yeah, you shot a fireball at me, bam, I put my magic into it, now I have like a little fire guardian, is any magic that he can put like a kind of like, just call like, you just be familiar magic, any magic sent at him, he just turns into a familiar, and he's got like a little summons creature to fight. Other than that, comment below, tell me what you thought about the chapter, tell me what you think is going on next, and I really appreciate thumbs up the video, press the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.